Hi everyone, I'm Arjun. I'm the co-founder of Suede, and we map and shape customer journeys in physical settings. Before Suede, I was working at the family business, and we own and operate hotels. In particular, I was working on a ground-up development we were doing in El Segundo, California, where we had this question of whether we want to put a pool in this hotel or not. I think we really quickly understood that neither us, nor the brand, or the architect had any idea of what people actually did once they arrived on property. So what did I do? I climbed on top of a parking structure, spied at a neighboring hotel's pool, saw if anybody was using it that day, and we ended up using that anecdotal evidence to make a rather expensive decision for ourselves and not put a pool in the hotel. I think it comes back to this fundamental issue, which is none of the stakeholders involved in this project had any idea of what people actually did once they arrived on property. Now, if I was going to try to make this decision smarter, I would ask myself questions like, what type of traveler goes to the pool? Do people go to the pool in this market or at like hotels? And do people who visit the pool end up spending more over the course of their stay, or do they have higher affinity scores? These are the questions that we've begun to answer with Suede, where we map and shape customer journeys in hospitality settings. To show you how it works, let's talk through an implementation at our pilot customer Hotel El Gonzo. This is Mike, he's the managing director of that property, and this is his guest, Anna. Mike wants to understand how guests like Anna are spending time and money at his physical location, but doesn't want to go through the hassle of installing additional hardware or having his guests download an app. Luckily, he has to do neither because he found Suede, and Anna, wanting a better experience on property, chooses to opt into Suede via the Wi-Fi captive page. This is incredibly important for us because when dealing with such sensitive data, privacy is of the utmost importance. So we require explicit guest consent, and we give an additional option to bypass our service during the opt-in process. Now, if she chooses to opt in, she'll enter a few fields, such as a name and a room number, and we'll automatically match the data that she enters with the data that exists within the property management system. Now we're able to leverage all of the data that Anna and her device are generating during her stay. And this includes booking details, previous transactional histories, and location services such as Wi-Fi triangulation to understand who she is within physical space. So as she goes to the rooftop pool, to the gym, and then back to her room, we can create a full journey of her time on property at Hotel El Gonzo. Now, this data can be deployed in a multitude of ways. The lowest hanging fruit for us in the early days was we can send touch points to guests during their stay. So in this example, Mike can target people who went to the gym with a spa promotion that they'll receive when they're in their room and it's raining outside. Now he can connect the offline and online journey by customizing the images that Anna receives on her rebooking email based on what she actually did when she was on property. And we can finally start to understand how different cohorts of people are using and engaging with his physical space. In this example, we actually identified that it was the youngest group of travelers that ended up spending the most time in their rooms without using any amenities during their stay. So he took this data and actually retrained his staff to better sell the amenities they had on property at the point of check-in. He's happy because we're not just exclusively an analytics tool, we can make a dollars and cents argument. We've mapped over 50,000 journeys at his property. On average, these guests, due to our personalized and contextual touch points, spend 18% more over the course of their stay on non-room related revenue, and this generates approximately $20,000 in incremental revenue per month, which he had to deploy no staff to achieve. And he put it best when he said Suede is offering a 360 solution that would be difficult to replace, and other apps are only doing a part of what Suede is doing now. We're currently invested in by Jason Calacanis, one of the earliest investors in Density and Techstars, and we differentiate ourselves from the competition because we require no behavior change either from the guest or from the hotel in order to add value. We've entered the market focusing on hotels, but have been approached by airlines and airports and see opportunities in tangential environments as broad as universities to even smart cities. Our team has relevant backgrounds from companies like Disney and Uber, and we're currently raising our round with commitments from Kleiner Perkins and Goodwater Capital and adding additional implementations. Thank you, and look forward
Thank
to
you,
questions.
Arjun. Grab a seat in the stool. Audience, what do we think? I think I see one red again. Dragons.
Well, I love the revenue uplift, so that's super cool. Do people really understand that they're opting in to have their movements tracked? And if they do understand that, do they care?
Yeah, so that was our earliest question that we had to answer. Would people opt into the service, and would they stay opted in? And what we found, even in tough environments where privacy is huge concerns like Germany, 65% of people chose to opt in when they saw our value proposition at the point of the captive Wi-Fi page. And the first message that we send folks, which is immediately post opt-in, has to required by GDPR to include opt-out language. So they immediately have the opportunity to opt out if they accidentally signed up for something. And our opt-out rate remains below 1%. So I think we're seeing a lot more receptiveness from guests and travelers in terms of opting in for a better experience on property. And it's equivalent to Google knowing where you parked your car, and you kind of take it for granted that this is useful and we're enjoying this service, and you're much more receptive. And that's the key thing for us. We have to always balance not being a spam tool and always thinking about guest experience and keeping people opted in. And I think that's an important part of the equation.
I really like this idea. I mean, look, people have been talking about in earlier times today. No-touch check-in, I walk in, I never talk to anybody, and therefore I don't know anything about the property and nobody touches me. So I think that's great. How tough is this to install and build the database of offers for these individual properties? How long does that take?
Yeah, so the beauty of this solution is it's completely software driven. And I think hospitality has unique advantages that other players, location analytics players in retail and whatnot, have struggled with. For example, in hotels, people readily check in. They identify themselves, so it's a part of the process that they're already used to. And secondly, hotel owners have invested heavily in Wi-Fi infrastructures.
No, I get that part, but the offers and the things you're putting out there have to be built.
Oh, yeah, we've developed a very simple web application that sets a bunch of criteria. So I want to target first-time visitors, and it's very intuitive that the sales and marketing team on property can set up themselves or set up within a day or so. And we've seen a lot of interest in sales and marketing teams who are saying, we have all of this data on our guests lying dormant in our PMS, and this is one of the few opportunities we have to get fun and creative in terms of creating these contextual and personalized experience.
So what's the average contract value for an individual hotel?
Yeah, for us, the average contract value is $6,000 to $8,000, and this is based on 140 keys, average size hotel.
Got it. So the base technology is easy to copy, and others have tried it, and we see it in other industries. The real value add is a software layer around these offers and so forth. That's going to require training, touch points, and so forth. How do you afford to do that with a $6,000 contract value focused on independent hotels?
In 10 seconds.
Yeah, so really the key thing for us is we've developed workshops in the beginning. It's very intuitive in terms of setup, but I think our long-term value is to the brands, and Blackstone actually reached out to us right after Techstars because they're constantly renovating their properties and recycling their properties, and they have no visibility in terms of what happens there. So we see the long-term value not being at the independent. It really is to build our initial data set, but the brands, even Marriott's somebody that we've begun to speak with, they see the value in understanding what people are actually doing physically at their locations.
Thank you, Arjun.